Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're peeling back the layers on something called relational trauma.
Right. It's quite a profound psychological injury.
Yeah, and it's not really about one big dramatic event, is it? It's more like a slow, steady erosion of trust.
Exactly. In the very relationships that are meant to be safe, it's chronic, cumulative, comes from repeated violations.
People often call it complex trauma, I gather, because the roots just twist so deep.
That's right. And it's not just about adult relationships either. The early life experiences, they often leave the deepest imprint.
And that can lead to patterns later on.
Definitely. Things like repetition compulsion. It's like your internal GPS gets stuck on a familiar but painful route.
So you unconsciously keep finding relationships that feel like past hurts.
Sort of, yeah. But the key insight is, you're not doomed to repeat it. Recognizing it is the first step.
Okay, let's unpack this a little more then, because it isn't always about obvious abuse, is it?
Not at all. It includes a whole spectrum of subtle things. Still deeply damaging, though.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, think about the silent ache of abandonment, maybe emotional abandonment, or that suffocating feeling of enmeshment.
Where you can't really be yourself.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Or the disorientation of gaslighting, where your reality is constantly denied. Or just constant, harsh criticism.
Things that just slowly erode your self-worth. It's like a consistent denial of who you actually are.
Exactly.
Now, here's where I think it gets really interesting. How this connects the personal to the wider world.
You mean how relational trauma isn't just individual?
Yeah. It spills over, right, into these profound societal wounds, like moral injury in soldiers.
Ah, yes. That's a powerful example. It's not just the trauma of what happened to them.
It's the distress from, violating their own moral code or seeing it violated.
Right. It's a kind of rupture from that sense of shared humanity, a deep wound to the soul, you could say.
And the really unsettling thing is how these wounds can embed themselves generationally.
That's where intergenerational trauma comes in. It's fascinating, actually.
So?
Well, the physiological impacts of trauma, like changes in stress hormone levels, cortisol, and so on, these can potentially be passed down.
Passed down how?
Through something called epigenetics. Think of your genes as the basic hardware. Epigenetics is like the software that tells the genes whether to switch on or off.
And trauma experienced by, say, your grandparents could affect that software.
That's the idea. It could potentially influence how your stress response system is set up even before you're born. It's this interplay of nature, nurture, and maybe even narrative.
Wow. So when we look at big systemic issues like racial injustice, that fits this model too.
Absolutely. It's often discussed as a powerful, ongoing example of this intergenerational relational trauma.
Leading to things like race-based traumatic stress.
Yes, which isn't just about specific incidents of discrimination, but this sort of cumulative wear and tear.
Of just living in a racist system, as some put it.
Where?
Affecting your basic sense of safety, belonging.
Your self-worth, exactly.
So what's the takeaway here? It means this trauma, it's not just in your head, is it?
Not at all. It really imprints itself into our neurobiology. It fundamentally changes how our brains and bodies operate.
How does that work biologically?
Well, chronic trauma can put your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, on high alert constantly. Everything feels like a threat.
Sounds exhausting.
It is. And over time, this creates what scientists call allostatic load.
Allostatic load.
Yeah, it's like constantly revving your car engine. It's the cumulative wear and tear on your whole system, body, and mind, leading to physical and mental health issues down the line.
Okay, that's heavy stuff, but there is hope, right? There are pathways to healing.
Oh, absolutely. Profound hope. We have powerful, integrated ways forward, psychological approaches, and for those who seek it, spiritual or biblical paths too.
An integrated approach sounds key.
It really is. It often starts with what's called trauma-informed care, basically, creating safety, trust, empowerment first.
And then the therapy.
You have different kinds. Some are more top-down, like attachment-based therapy, that helps sort of reparent the inner child, building a secure connection in the therapy room.
Okay.
And then there are bottom-up methods, like somatic experiencing, that focuses more on the body.
How does that work?
It helps release that trapped survival energy from the nervous system. You don't necessarily have to relive the trauma narrative in detail. It's about helping the body complete those protective responses and find its natural rhythm again.
So healing involves both the mind and the body
Absolutely.
working together.
And what about those who find comfort or guidance in a faith-based path?
Well, biblical principles offer some incredibly powerful tools. Think about lament, like in the Psalms or the Book of Job.
Just raw, honest expression of pain.
Exactly. No pretense. Then there's forgiveness, as Paul talks about in Colossians, which is maybe less about excusing the harm and more about releasing that burden of bitterness for yourself.
Letting go of its grip on you. Precisely. And of course, supportive community, like in Galatians, bearing one another's burdens. That safe connection is vital.
So the core theme seems to be reconnection.
I think so. Reconnection with God, if that's your path, with others in a safe way, and importantly, with a restored sense of self, a self that isn't defined by shame, kind of like Job's journey in the end.
So we've explored the sheer depth of relational trauma, how pervasive it can be, but also these really powerful integrated paths towards finding wholeness again.
Yes, healing is definitely a journey. It's about integrating mind, body, spirit, relationships, rebuilding that sense of safety, and ultimately knowing who you truly are.
It really raises an important question then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If we understand how pervasive the intergenerational and systemic parts of this trauma are, how might that reshape how we think about community care, about collective well-being right here in our own neighborhoods?